Why is it that many diabetics start feeling shaky, start sweating, and feeling like something's terribly wrong when their blood glucose is at a perfectly normal level of, say, 80? Is there any value in going for a walk after eating a somewhat high-carb meal? And how is it that I sometimes wake up with blood glucose in the 70's? We'll look at these and other issues related to diabetes coming up. In this video, we'll be continuing to look at some of the comments. I love the comments. I love hearing from people. I love the way people interact with one another. And I learn a lot myself. So, I'm really not the expert. I've learned a few things going this journey, and I've been at it since 2001. But I'm no expert, and I can learn from you as well, and I do. So thank you for all your comments and insights. We're going to start with a comment about my wife, Benedicta. This person says, your wife is not diabetic. Does she eat carbs, or is she also on keto? Well, the answer is I eat carbs. Some people say, I won't eat a single carb. Well, I do eat carbs. I eat a salad. If you eat a salad, you're going to have some carbs. But they're low carbs. So, Benedicta, of course, eats carbs, and she is not on keto, and she's not nearly as careful with her diet as I am. You say, well, why don't you just make sure she does everything just right? Well, because I have to live with her. She's my wife, and, there are some things more important than making sure your spouse is on the perfect diet, and that is having a loving and good relationship with your spouse. And, we really need to be gentle in the way that we try to encourage others. And I do try to encourage Benedicta to lay a little bit low on the carbs, and she is doing that, and she's doing, far better than she would if she wasn't married to me. But she'll take some foods that I never would, or eat more of them than I would. So that's just the way it is. No, she's not on keto. But she sure beats me all over the place when we do these blood sugar tests, especially in terms of how quickly her body responds to carbs and glucose. This person says, even though I'm diabetic, whenever I eat sweet things, then I walk 2 to 3 kilometers and check my blood sugar. Its imbalance is normal. Try this. And I've heard this again and again and again. Eat your meal and then go walk. Well, folks, I just don't have time to do that. I do exercise. I've got an elliptical trainer in my living room off to the corner, and I use that in the morning. But the idea of eating a sort of a high-carb meal and then going for a walk to tame it, to me that sounds kind of silly, to be honest. Why not just eat a low-carb meal? Then you don't have to go for a walk. The idea that we have to go for a walk every time we eat a meal, that would just be bondage to me, and I'm too busy. I can't do that. I don't see how anybody can, but I especially cannot eat a meal and then spend a half an hour walking 3 times a day. I know it'd probably be good for me, but I just can't do it. And if I can keep my blood sugar low by eating low carb, and then I don't have to go for those walks. Like I said, I'll do the elliptical trainer in the morning, and that's pretty much going to be it. So if that works for you, that's fine. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying I couldn't possibly do that. I don't have enough hours in the day to do that. All right, I like this one. It says, it takes time and effort. This is one person counseling somebody else who's struggling with their blood sugar. So they're saying it takes time and effort. I've been keto and fasting since June of 2018. My A1C back then was 6.9. My average blood sugar was in the 150 plus range. If I'm not mistaken, today my average blood sugar is in the 80s. My A1C is 4.9. I'll tell you what, if you can get into the 4s, you're doing very, very well. Of course, this person was at 6.9, so they had just crossed the boundary line of diabetes, probably not long before. But they're down into the 4s. They're doing very well. And the individual says, in fact, I just tested my blood sugar while watching this video because I'm on hour 18 of a 42-hour fast. So if they're doing 42-hour fast, they're pretty serious about all this. And, I commend them for that. And they say, my blood sugar is right now at 69. Well, I haven't seen the 60s in a long time. But they go on to say it's great to be off diabetic meds. Used to be, if I got near 80, I would start getting low blood sugar, shakes, sweats, and would have to eat or drink something to bring it back up. Not anymore. I've been in the 50s a few times with no ill effects at all. The diabetes medicine is what causes us to have these lows in the first place, and I truly see that now. Trust in the process. Everyone's body is different, but the process so works. It just takes time to get all that stored sugar depleted to actually start seeing the benefit. Well, let me just focus in on what they said about I used to, if I was even down to 80, I would get shaky, I would get sweats, I felt terrible, I'd be trembling. Yeah, a lot of people are like that. But 80 is a perfectly good number. And normal people, if they're at 80, they're feeling just fine. They're feeling dandy. But if you've been way high for a long time with your blood sugar and you ever get down around 80, a lot of times you'll feel terrible and you'll feel like you're about to pass out. Well, the good news is all that adjusts. As you bring your blood sugars down and you get into more of a routine of having lower blood sugar, you'll get to the point where you can feel in the 80s. You feel good in the 80s, that is. And amazingly, I made a video a while back about how to have lower fasting glucose, and I really worked on myself because I was disappointed with my own fasting glucose, and I did get it down. And there are times where I will fast a full day, or I'll fast until fairly late and then just have some almost zero-carb food just to kind of tide me over. And I'll wake up in the morning in the 70s. I've been as low as 77, so I've been kind of happy with that. But the good news is I'm at 77 or 79 sometimes in those mornings, not a normal morning, but after an all-day fast I can be, and I feel just fine. I don't feel the least bit shaky, and no problems at all. I feel just fine. So you kind of get used to where you are, and if you're in the 200s or 180s all the time, and you, for some reason, whether it's through medication or whatever, you get down to 80 or 85, you may feel terrible, and you may feel you're about ready to pass out, and maybe you will. So you have to be careful. But the good news is as you work on it, as you bring your blood sugar levels down gradually, you'll get to the point where you can have those lower numbers and feel fine. Now, he talks about he's even been in the 50s and felt good. Well, 50s is a bit dangerous. I'd be a little concerned if I was in the 50s. But 70s, most people should be able to handle if they've got normal blood glucose. Okay, well, here's another question or a comment. Thank you, Beat Diabetes. I also would like to say thank you for teaching me a lot more than my doctor ever did. They never told me about the substitute foods you can eat to make going down this new path in life easier. God bless you and your channel. Without it, this journey would be a drag. And I think I mentioned that comment for this one point, not just to toot my own horn. But you really do need to find some substitutes and some meals that are fun to eat and some low-carb desserts. At least I did. One of the reasons I think I've been able to stay on it now for 18 years, stay on the low-carb path, and I've never really fallen off of it. I've maybe experimented with a few foods that I found out pretty quickly that I couldn't eat, and then I had to drop them. But I've never fallen off, and one of the reasons is I got curious about what I could eat. One of the things I used to have always before my blood sugar problems was Saturday morning pancakes. I love pancakes. And when I found out that I had to do away with most of the wheat products, it was like a knife going through me to give up my Saturday morning pancakes. But I quickly found out a substitute pancake I could have that tasted almost as good as the old pancakes. And life was good. I used some sugar-free syrup. Sausage was no problem. Pancakes and sausage were back on the menu. And I found desserts. I found one of these days I'll have to show it to you. It's a chocolate-drizzled, low-carb, orange-flavored cheesecake. And man, you talk about good. I mean, I like that better than most desserts I ever had when I ate the sugar desserts. And, of course, it is sweet, and it has to be sweetened with something that is non-sugar. So it is sweet. But I even took it to a board meeting, and the board loved it so much, and they were all just raving about it, and they recognized that it was just as good, in fact, probably better than many, if not most, of the desserts they had eaten that were laced with sugar. So there are substitutes. You need to find those substitutes out. This channel can help, but we're not primarily a channel about recipes. I'll do one here and there that I especially like, and I'll continue to do that here and there, but that's not really the main focus. But there are some wonderful YouTube channels, and there are some wonderful websites that can give you all kinds of low-carb, keto-type desserts, substitutes, low-carb breads, low-carb almost everything, low-carb biscuits and gravy. You really don't have to sacrifice all that much. And so this person says it would be such a drag without these substitutes. Yeah, it would. And the important thing is they help you have the strength and the courage and the will to stay with it, to stay the course. And we need to do that. It's sad to me when I hear of someone who has fallen off the wagon and gone back to the old lifestyle. Well, I hope you found that helpful. If so, give it a thumbs up, which will help the video to be seen by more diabetics as YouTube promotes it to more people. We're offering our video series titled Overcome Runaway Blood Sugar in 3 formats. In America, you can get it on DVDs or as MP4 video files on a flash drive. In other countries, as well as in America, we've offered it as video files that you can download to your phone or computer. Check out the links in the description notes, and don't forget to subscribe and click that little bell icon so you'll be notified every time we post a new video. God bless. See you again soon.